Hello there.
This is where the fun begins.
What's up guys, Unofficial Star Wars here. Hope you're all doing well, and in this video we are going to be discussing some of the most recent first reactions and reviews to the upcoming Star Wars The Acolyte. Critics are sharing some strong first reactions to it. Of course, we're going to go ahead, we're going to break it all down, everything that we know and everything that we're anticipating right now. Before we do though, however, grab the subscribe button if you haven't already, as we're discussing and covering all types of Star Wars related news, leaks, rumors, theories, and breakdowns here on the channel. So if you guys are into any of that, go ahead and grab the subscribe button today. Okay, so in this video we are going to be taking a quick read from the Direct's article. I'll have their article linked in the description down below for you guys to check out there as well as an overall garnering source. The Acolyte had its first official showings for critics who have shared the overwhelmingly strong first reactions to the new upcoming Disney Plus series from Star Wars The Acolyte. Star Wars' newest series will take fans back in time to the High Republic era, an kind of marked territory for a galaxy far, far away, a specific era that we haven't actually seen on screen up until now, providing a look at some of the earliest points within the on-screen Star Wars timeline to date. Marking the first time in Star Wars history that a project features the Sith in leading roles as well, The Acolyte will bring plenty of epic lightsaber and force-using action to a story working as a prequel for the prequels for the first time in the entirety of the Skywalker saga. I think it's really something that I mentioned quite a bit here in and out of our videos on the channel into the regards of The Acolyte, is that The Acolyte, I'm excited for it purely for the reason of that this is something that we haven't had something like this since The Mandalorian back in 2019. And well, before that it was the sequel trilogy with The Force Awakens in 2015. And that's purely for the fact of that it's new characters, it's a fresh start, it's a new era, and it has an opportunity to tell a completely new and different story, yet set in such a familiar and just welcoming kind of environment within a galaxy that we know and love, a galaxy far, far away, of course. And I think that, well, both of those kind of reflections, the sequel trilogy and both The Mandalorian, those all kind of outgrew it, because eventually, well, you know, for starters with the sequel trilogy, you start introducing and reintroducing really characters that we do know and love, like Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Chewbacca, Leia Organa, all those characters, of course, making their comeback to a galaxy far, far away. So, you know, how fresh and how new is it really then when, at that point, when you do start to bring in those characters that we've known before. And then you have The Mandalorian, for example. The first season, of course, really did it quite well, and I'm not saying that the show has gone downhill, of course, in any manner, or even of that for its spin-offs like the Ahsoka Disney Plus show or the Book of Boba Fett, but The Mandalorian Season 2, reintroducing characters that we've known and loved like Luke Skywalker, Bo-Katan Kryze, Boba Fett, Ahsoka Tano, of course, all characters that we've known before, have seen before, it takes away that kind of new feeling to it, essentially. So, aside from all that, aside from my own thoughts and opinions, by which I would love to hear what you guys are thinking, of course, in the comments down below, taking a quick look here at what some other articles and critics and reflections alike all have to say here. According to Gizmodo's German Lucier, called the first two episodes a quote-unquote interesting, fun, character-driven mystery story that brings stakes into the equation while praising of how it fits into a galaxy far, far away into the Star Wars universe, saying that they're all, in quote, beholden to nothing except being Star Wars. The Acolyte soars. It's an interesting, fun, character-driven mystery with real stakes that you care about, bolstered by all of the fixings that make it, well, Star Wars. Saw the first two episodes and, well, loved them. Ending that quote right there. We won't stop there though, however. Comic Books Jamie Jarak was in disbelief at quote-unquote how much it's living up to her expectations, giving credit to the work of the director and showrunner Leslie Headland has put into the show herself, saying that they're, in quote, I've waited so long for The Acolyte and I cannot believe how much it's living up to my expectations. I loved the first two episodes. It's so exciting to see a new and, well, old era explored in live action. Leslie Headland did a dynamite job fleshing out these characters. I'm simply obsessed. Ending that quote right there. I like how she goes on to mention of how this is an all new era, but yet old because it's something of a prequel to the prequels, taking place 100 years before the events of the Skywalker saga, before the events of the Phantom Menace there as well. And to the idea of how it is very much so a character-driven story is something I think that is a very big focal point here for the Acolyte as well. Like, if you aren't able to flesh out these characters to make us care about them, then well, why bother with the entirety of this project is a very much big part of it in itself there, of course, as well. I think that's just a no-brainer for anyone. Continuing on, the moviespodcasts.com, Anthony Gerlardi had called The Acolyte a quote-unquote mixed experience. He sees its potential by comparing it to the Knights of the Old Republic video games and those cinematics, but he's also said that the fight scenes often feel actually misplaced, saying that they're, in quote, 4 episodes into Star Wars The Acolyte, and well, it's mixed of an experience. The lore hints at Knights of the Old Republic's potential, yet the pacing occasionally lags. While the fight scenes are engaging, they often feel, well, misplaced, hoping to see some stronger performances and a clearer narrative direction quite sooner rather than later. Ending that quote right there. Of course, it isn't all rainbows and sunshines and fairies and unicorns, of course, as of maybe I'm kind of like leading on or misleading on throughout the entirety of this video. It's going to have its flaws. It's not going to be the best thing out there ever. It's not going to be just absolutely, well, without flaws. It's not going to be flawless, of course. It's going to have some of those complaints and some of those critical complaints, not just complaining that, oh, it's so women-led and it's so woke. This is an actual critique. It's an actual criticism for the show, saying and seeing of how well it has that big potential to meet at what the Knights of the Old Republic video games and those cinematics had actually offered way back when, but then also looking at the flip side of things, the fight scenes are cool and all, they work really well, they're on par with maybe with what the prequels had once offered, but they kind of come out of nowhere. They feel kind of sudden, they feel misplaced, is a very real thing. Something I'm not looking forward to now actually hearing this, but we'll see how it goes. Part of it, it's the honesty and the reasoning behind it. It's something I really appreciate and, well, love. Continuing on here, Screen Rant's Joe Decalemere got quote-unquote Kill Bill vibes from this series thus far, heaping praise on the star Amandla Steinberg, who is the lead, and was left wanting simply more in a good way from each episode, as they say that there in quote. Star Wars The Acolyte gives a Kill Bill vibe. Every episode left me wanting more in a good way. We've seen so much about the fall of the Jedi, but this show explores what the Jedi were like during a peacetime, which is, well, quite fascinating. Amandla Steinberg is outstanding. Ending that quote right there, and this is a whole nother reason as to why I'm so excited and really anticipating with what this show is going to offer us, is what do the Jedi do when they're at such a height of their power, at such a peaceful time essentially, and you add in some of that jargon, some of that conflict in there. Like, are they really prepared to take on the Sith or actually fight anybody? And that's been a huge thing already revealed, I think, in a lot of the promoting and marketing and the trailers for The Acolyte thus far, is that when you put one of these highly skilled quote-unquote Jedi Master face in face with maybe a Sith Lord, they can't handle it, and it's going to show how that's going to go on here in the upcoming Acolyte. Guys, this all being said, let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. I would love to hear what you guys are all thinking. Thanks so much for watching today's video. Of course, this has been Unofficial Star Wars. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great one. May the Force be with you as always. Peace out.